Welcome back to the Your Watercolor Summer Weekly Painting Challenge. Hi, I'm Crispy from OctopusConnection.com, and I'm a former high-end retail management professional turned freelance artist. Last week, we kicked off the challenge with some thoughts and some tips to help you get started with the right low-pressure frame of mind. If you haven't watched it yet, you can click right here to watch it now. This week, I'm going to show you how I create super simple DIY travel watercolor painting kits. But I'll also show you the evolution of my kits over the years so you can see some of the mistakes I made and hopefully avoid them yourself. I created my first travel watercolor painting kit about 5 or 6 years ago when I purchased a zip-around organizer and filled the pockets with all my art supplies. Back then, the only paints I used were a Winsor & Newton Cotman student grade paint set, which I thought was really good quality. I really enjoyed traveling with it, but the paint set itself was a bit clunky, making it heavy to use. I did use it while I was away on business trips, which was super fun, but I made the mistake of opening one of my tubes on a flight to find out that the air pressure in the cabin just sucked the paint right out of the tube. It took me forever to get that tube closed again, and it got pretty messy. Thankfully, most of my paint ended up in the palette, and the good news is that watercolors are reusable after they dry, so in the end, it wasn't too big of an issue. Just saying, please never open your paints on a flight if you're using tube paints. After realizing that those weren't going to be the greatest for air travel, I switched to pan paints. I wanted to be sure that I could use this kit for any type of travel, so I got this tiny 12-piece Winsor & Newton set, which was considerably smaller and lighter. It worked really well, and once again, I got a lot of use out of this one for a few years. But then I discovered an even better way to travel with my watercolors when Viva Colors from India reached out to me to do a brand collaboration. Viva Colors is a family-owned business inspired by their grandmother, who gave her grandson and founder the idea to make a more travel-worthy set of watercolors before he set off for college abroad. He worked to develop watercolors made with natural dyes and concentrated into small squares of color that could be activated with water. These paints were created on sheets of thick paper, and he perfected the process as he went along. These paints have morphed into a full-fledged business, and today Viva Colors is a trusted brand used by artists all over the world. When I started using them, I was blown away with how light and compact all the paint sets were. Not only that, but every square of color lasts just as long as any pan paints I've ever used before. For me, that's about 2 to 3 years. Each color is super vibrant because it's made with natural dyes from the earth and super concentrated. And all their paint sets are sustainable because they're 100% biodegradable. And now the paints are even vegan too. So by using Viva Colors, I'm being kind to the environment, which for me is a huge bonus. This set fits in my back pocket, in the small pocket of my handbag, or in a little pouch, which is my preference so I can keep it with the rest of my painting supplies. What else is in my travel watercolor painting kit? I usually bring one medium round brush and one small detail brush. Plus, I love to have a water brush in case it's not practical to use a cup of water, like on a hiking trail or in the car. I keep this water brush barrel filled with drinking or purified water just to be on the safe side so it doesn't clog easily, and then I can squeeze the water out as needed. With one of these, I'm good to paint for at least an hour or two. I'll be going over more in detail how I paint with one of these water brushes in a later video. Besides brushes, I bring along either a small watercolor pad or cut down bigger pieces of watercolor paper to bring along with me. I just have to have a way to keep them safe from getting damaged when I do this. Plus, I need to bring along a hard surface to paint on as well. You could bring along a piece of cardboard and some binder clips, but I find that a little bit laborious on a trip. That's why I opt for a small watercolor sketchbook when I take my watercolors outside the studio. Paper towels or rags are a must so you can sop up messes, lift colors, and clean your brushes, which is really important for the life of them. I try to keep an extra water bottle that has been labeled as painting supplies. If I'm going on a plane, I keep it empty until I'm ready to use it. Then I have it to dip my traditional brushes into it for rinse water. If I'm traveling in a car, I keep it full so I can quickly start painting whenever the inspiration strikes. Bonus tip: be sure to keep it separate from your actual drinking water. Drinking paint water is definitely a known hazard for watercolor painters. I would try to avoid that at all costs. I also bring along a pencil, a polymer eraser, so it doesn't leave black marks on my paper, and gum erasers work really well too. I usually bring mechanical pencils when I'm on the go, so I don't have to do any messy sharpening. And because my pencil is always ready to go, it allows me to capture my sketches more quickly, so I can get to painting that much faster. Once I have all my supplies together, I generally find a pouch that I want to bring with me. Since I started traveling with my paints, I've built a collection of different colored and different shaped pouches, so I have a fun selection. Have you ever put together your own travel watercolor kit? I would love to hear about it in the comments below, and I hope you'll join us in the Your Watercolor Summer weekly challenge to get weekly video lessons, PDFs, a community, and access to the Challenge Hub, all for free. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any new video lessons. Then click on the link in the description below to join the challenge. I'll see you back here next week for the next video lesson, or if it's already available when you're watching this, you can click right here.